Good evening. I am Sensei Kevlar. I'm here to throw some darts at some charts tonight. Let's start with Neo. Neo has been fantastic recently. If you were on the sled down from here and you didn't take your opportunities to get out at this opportunity, this really should have been a clear trade right here. This leg should have been very obvious based upon this motion right here. So if you were here and you got to here and you didn't position yourself for this, you might have been stuck in the landslide that occurred. If you quad X'd and quad X'd and quad X'd, hopefully you got out at this point. This should really position you for a good opportunity to buy right here. Look for the bear trap that bears can step in before we take off before we take off till dawn. Of course, there's always the possibility that this can have some downside here, but I think on once China does its inventory and does all of its allocation down around this downside right here, I think what you're going to see is exactly what I'm describing right here. We're going to see the fake out followed by the return, followed by the deny, and then on till dawn. Look for this trend line continuing to be really significant on this. Look for this downside all the way down to here if you need to. This is a great opportunity to be heavy in when you get to right about here, but you want to be careful about being too heavy here and here. So schedule those accordingly. I think there's at least 2 or 3 more opportunities for a buy-in, as well as a really nice position right here. This could make you really, really profitable really soon if it came down and did this. So great entry point on Neo. Really like the potential upside on this. Not a lot of potential downside that we can't schedule easily for. And just be patient with it. Allow it, we're looking at the 20th, I believe. Yeah, it looks like the 18th before we can actually reach decision time. So be patient with it. Wait until the 20th. Get in over here, quad X up here. You could be profitable right here. Do the buy-in on the bounce if we see this kind of motion right here. Could do a little bit more accumulation right here and schedule on till dawn. Really nice trade on that one. Litecoin. Oh, I'm afraid Litecoin's headed the direction of Bitcoin at the moment. As much as I'm, in it myself, that I recognize that there is both a long-term and a short-term opportunity here. There is definitely a wedge that's forming along this line, and we definitely do see some new trend lines that are happening along this right here. So we do have some upward pressure still, but we got a lot of downward fighting at this point, and on this downslide right here, I'd be very careful. I'd be looking for a nice bounce right here, a schedule here, and if you need to come down to here, you're going to want to have been very, very careful about your entry up here. This is a good coin to 50-50, but you really want to consider like a 30-70 at this point against something else like the US dollar, because I really do think that this has a lot of potential upside once we blow off a little bit of this downside right here. So be careful with this one, but not a market that I would tell you ever that you need to stay out of, but definitely a market I tell you that this is a possibility. Look for December for this to be realized, and be prepared for this to go into a long sleep while Bitcoin does the same and some of the other things take the center stage like Ether and some of those other ones. Rep. Yeah, I did Neo. Rep, I think, is next. Oh, yes, sir. Beautiful. Oh, I like it a lot. Get me some of this coin. This right here is an opportunity. Back here in December, we were just kind of trying to figure out what it is that we truly wanted to do with ourselves, being this infant fledgling situation. It was released October 10th, it looks like, of last year. Up until this point, volume just wasn't that interesting. We didn't have a lot of accumulation that had happened yet. But once we did, we needed to move the market up rapidly. And that's how we got into these really nice patterns right here. Really nice cycles that could have made you very profitable had you been paying attention. So let's see if we can't find some opportunities within here, because I think this has a lot of upside coming up on it here. We've got this one right here. Oh, come on, browser, don't crash on me, please. Let's stay in drawing mode. That. Certainly, right there. Comes across right there, see that, and then bounces right there. Spot them with your eyes, guys. All right, I think that'll do us. And I put one too many there. Well, hard to see the downside on this one. I mean, this is clearly something that we have a lot of interest in. We've built up a lot of volume in. We've built up a lot of downside potential right here. We had to blow off some steam on this downside that we did in order to come back up here, get rid of all of this allocation from these nasty downslides into these positions. Had to push this back up to get rid of these in order to allow us to come back down. But look at where we are. We're up against the bottom of the market. It doesn't get any lower than this. We have one more level lower. And that's that right there. That's the dead zone, right? That's never going to go there again. You're never going to get it at that price again. You wish you could get it at that price again, but you won't, is the most likelihood, is the most greatest likelihood. Plan for a 5x up off of that line right there, because that's your I got lucky line. Look for the upside potential on this one. Look for the 3 drives leading to liftoff on that. So here's the new trend line. What we're looking for is we're looking for 3 drives on the 3 drives on the move right here. So we have 1, 2. Again, I should need to stay in drawing mode. And then here would be your 3rd drive right there. Lots of upside potential right there. I really like that a lot. And then from there, we might need to come back down a little bit. Look for your schedules coming back into this zone. You might see that we bounce off of a previous resistance line or a previous support line. I'd look for a buy-in, an early buy-in right there with a quick double up on this one right here, if I did do the buy-in right there. And I'd schedule for all of this upside potential right here, all the way take your trophies into the stratosphere. Because realistically, we could see an even bigger motion on this one now that we have good potential on it. So let's see what that could look like. If we do a fib extension and we take it from this bottom to this top, and then we come down here and we extend it outward, what would 100% of that motion look like again? Well, this would be the new top if we did that. This would be where we come up. Let's just draw it out. This would be where, having done this, we come up to here. This is how 3 drives turn into, which 3 drives is a breakout pattern, turns into 5 drives, which is a reversal pattern. Because then you could see the reversal on the 5 drives, which is the higher low, the lower high, followed by the breakthrough. And that would be the 5 drives reversal pattern right there. So look for this zone on your trophy and even potentially hold a trophy up to your 1.618 potential line right there. That was rep. Gotta take a look at Ether, guys. Nobody suggested Ether. I know what's going to happen next. You may not, but I do. I know what's going to happen next. I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just going to say that this is in effect, and we are really up against decision time. And I think that we already see our potential on this one. The potential on this one goes all the way up to here. I don't even know how to schedule. I guess we could look for the 2 on that without getting out our Fibonacci. Let's take a look. Down to here. That's the retracement. Sorry. Let's do the extension. Bring it up, bring it down, bring it across. Yeah, what did I say? I said 2. Sure enough, there's the 100% mark. When you've done this enough times, it's just so obvious to you where it's going to go. No, I've not done okay, but I will very shortly. Thank you for reminding me. Could we see 2.8? Absolutely. We certainly could. And I'd look for new resistance areas in here on that scheduled distribution. Where could we go on the downside from here? I don't think it's hard to schedule for this downside, to be honest with you. I would look for that, and I wouldn't look much further back, to be really genuine with you. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't. That doesn't mean that you should get here and be 50% in your portfolio, right? That means you should get here and be 4% in your portfolio or 5% in your portfolio, and plan for that. But I think we can see some real action even before October. I think October is going to be a fantastic month for Ether, and if you've been waiting like I have, I've been waiting on this one, it's going to be a really big upside potential on that long wait. That was really worth it. All the way back from September 14th or whatever it was, because this is the last time I was in distribution, was back here on the 14th. Haven't been in distribution since. It's been all downside. Let's see here. Okay, BTC. Okay, cash. Holy moly, it's Christmas. Watch yourself on this one, boys. Now, what I said earlier was I was measuring this potential right here, and there's the extension on that one, and it came up and touched that 618, and the ladies in the room said, "No, thank you, sir. I think I'm going down now." And that's what's going to happen next, I think, is we're going to see a lot of downward potential here, a lot of rejection, a lot of retracement on this. Where could we come down to look for a buy-in point? Well, there's probably the first point. There's another good one right there. Could we pick up one position here? I guess. Could take it on till dawn. Take it on till the 2600 line right here. And then as soon as you take your profit here, look for it to come back down and get in. But I see a lot of downside on this one. I'm not sure that I want to be holding from the top in any sort of large capacity. When I could simply wait. I could simply wait this out. I just think it's way too hyperbolic here to get a really good lift any further off of this. We really need to see some downside potential. What else is looking great? I know ADX is in allocation. I saw. Yeah. Boy, is it ever. Look at this. Look at this thing right here. Rejection. Descending wedge. I hope everybody sees this by now. We can schedule for all kinds of locations within here. that one, probably one more right in here. Yeah, certainly. Well, that was easy. There's a great opportunity right there. I'd skip this, I'd look I'd maybe double up on this one because this is your bear trap. See the bear trap right here? Here was a bear trap. We were coming down, down, and then we told the bears that they were safe to go ahead and really max out that short position because they're just gonna go, like this. And no, I'm sorry, we don't play that game. What we do is we play it smart and know that it's gonna do this again later. Don't fall for bear traps. Don't do it. Buy the dips. Don't sell them. Don't short them. Right here, we absolutely have some really serious allocation that's looking very, 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 very promising right up against that trend line. If we can still respect this and get the turnaround right here, then we know that this is our new market bottom. Otherwise, look for the fall through onto this line right here. Check this guy out over here. He's a really important line. Market seems to really like this position. If you start to see this fall, double up here very carefully. Look for the bounce before you before you double up. Maybe just, if you're already in a big position, maybe just take a couple positions. If it dribbles along, schedule that out a long time. This is a good one for a long schedule, not a short schedule. You don't short schedule in a market like this. You long schedule, because what it'll do is it'll come down and you'll dribble out, and then you'll pick them up at really low places down here before you end up. And look at how much more we can schedule for when we do that downside, when we realize that downside potential. Look at how much more money we make when we do that correctly. You don't make your money when the market is going up. You make your money when the market is going down. This is so crucial. This is so critical. If you do not schedule for your profitability right in this leg right here, after this big dip right here, well, then you've really missed your opportunity, because that was a Forex opportunity. Could have gotten out right there with a good 2 or 3% profit, 5% profit, had your trophies going on till, let's find out, 260, 50%. You could have had your trophies going on, scheduled out to 250% on that little bit of doubling up you did right there. It was so easy to do. These markets are fantastic, right? Say you were at 10 positions all the way down here because you had been in this landslide for a minute. You started here and you went, 4x here. You're going to do another 4x here. Well, now you're 12 deep. Well, one position, or get rid of 2 positions, and then another 2 positions here, or 2 positions here. 10, 12, 258%. You just made so much money in this market. And then the minute that we do one of these, we come back down. This is a cool coin. I like this market, and I like this opportunity. And I like that we can get into this very easily with very, very small downside potential on this, and schedule very simply for that with a lot of upside potential. Just be aware that we are entering December, and we do have the potential to sort of do one of these for a while, and that's okay. Go ahead and be patient. Look for your other opportunities. Is that it, guys? Everything else that you wanted to see? Let's take a look. BTC USD. Well, he's right on schedule. We're trying to trick people into thinking that this is legit. In reality, you really need to be looking at this. And what we're going to do is we're going to get this nice chase on up here until we get this pressure downward to bust us down through here, right on down to my targeted, as I have been saying over and over and over again to everybody who asks, 3,500 line, my 50-50 line, where I'm targeting for. The second that I bust through this 4,000 mark, I go into allocation all the way down to 3,500. And then I have scheduled all the way down to 1,800, but I really don't hope to see that. I hope to see a nice, see this trend line right here. I hope to see a nice chase up this trend line only to see it break down again and get us down to here at around 3,500. Sometime mid-October, we can do a little bit of this all the way through, get the sideways action going on through December before we can get a real nice pump again in January. That would be really lovely, and I like that schedule a lot. The winter months are always a little bit sleepy, and then in March we can start to take off again. So those are the opportunities that I'm seeing, and if you attended today's webinar, I discussed the plan in its entirety. I went over the whole thing, listed it out in steps, and read it forward to backwards. Then I read it backwards to forwards and pointed out that it made sense either way. This is something that if you're not doing this, you're not going to be profitable in these markets. You're going to end up in large situations where your portfolio does not allow you to continue to schedule your downward motion on that. If you are not doing this, this system will not work for you. Don't try it. Don't do it. Go figure out a different system for yourself and make yourself profitable on paper first. On tomorrow, I'm going to be doing this again, and we're going to be having a regular session during the day where we talk about how to maximize our opportunities and how to plan for profitability best. On Wednesday, the lesson plan is deviating from its regular schedule, and we are going to be staring down a darker path of how people make their money in these markets. I invite you to, until that time, practice your balance. This is really, really an important key when you're looking at other opportunities to be able to balance properly. And as I take you into sort of the swamplands where the quicksand lies, and I warn you, don't go here. Don't go into quicksand. Don't go into the swamplands. I ask you to really have your footing about you and your balance about you. So far, I have told you things that have made you profitable and have made you smarter with your trading and more profitable. And when I show you something and I show you an opportunity and I tell you, don't do it, I hope that at this point I have gained the credibility in order to get you to listen to me when I say that, because there is danger. And what I have told you, if you stick to this plan, you will be safe. And on Wednesday, I'm going to show you how they tempt you to deviate from this plan and beg you, don't go down the dark path. I hope to see you tomorrow and then Wednesday for that lesson. And then on Friday, we will have our final lesson in this series, in which we will be discussing our futures together, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I hope to see you all there and in the room, and hope that you all are remembering to plan the trade and trade the plan. Thank you, everyone.